Hey, it's Jared with Omnivore Blade Works. I wanted to show you some cool stuff. This is our Jackal Tomahawk with a grip from VZ Grips down in Florida. They did a really great job on this heavily textured diamondback pattern. We've got this in both the coyote color and in the black. So we're thinking about moving to VZ Grips for all of our knife handles and axe handles. And we're going to use this handle from the Jackal as a basis for our short sword called the Kodiak. I made a couple prototypes and they're great, and now I want to make them faster and less expensive so that you guys can buy them with less money. This is the prototype for the Kodiak 2, which we may call the Middendorf because that's the scientific name for the Kodiak bear, versus Arctos Middendorf. But you can see it may or may not have a saw, and it'll have a place to put your lanyards on the bottom. So it'll have the same handle as the Jackal, and it's just going to be one heck of a nice cutting machine. And it also will have smooth or textured G10 grips that you can just bolt on and off. If you beat the hell out of the thing, you want to refinish it, you can take the handle off, send it back, and I'll refinish it for you at a nominal charge, I guess. Another cool thing that I want input on is our new idea for a Smatchet type of knife. I want to call this the Corvid because I have the dagger series, which are symmetrical daggers, and this would be the big brother to those. It's kind of a battlefield weapon, but it could be used for a lot of things around camp. It's got a nice integral hilt, with holes in the hilt, so you can, and at the pommel, so you can lash it on to a spear, just like with our Horribilis Bowie knife. It'll have a finer grind than most of your Smatchets, and it'll be a full 1/4 inch thick, high carbon 1095 or 01. Superior toughness with the os tempering process, which is really nice. And it'll look just something like that, and it should weigh about a little bit less than our Razorback, which is about the same length, 10.5 inch blade. We're also going to do a revision of our Horus short sword, and this is the current Horus short sword. It has a blunt edge up here for grabbing on like a draw knife, as with our Horribilis Bowie knife, except on the Horribilis the handle's a little far back and it has a sharp false edge on the top. So what we're going to do, instead of having this symmetrical handle, is to move to the handle like we have on our other Horribilis and the new Corvid Smatchet knife. This makes it cheaper for me to make these things, and this handle is more comfortable. Plus, with this sword, with this handle, you have symmetry to a certain extent. So you can hold it in a reverse grip and still have plenty of comfort, because the only change is down here at the pommel. So this will be Horus 2, and I'd like to know what you think about this style, asymmetrical handle versus symmetrical handle. And then of course paint jobs and everything will be, kind of custom. Anyway, so those are the 2 or 3 big knives. We've got the Horus and the Corvid, and of course the Horus 2, like I just showed you. Another interesting idea that I had was to use the Razorback as a basis for a multi-purpose knife, or second multi-purpose knife, which would have the same handle as our Horribilis Bowie knife. I like to change over to that for our bigger knives, and so it maintains the Razorback chopping functionality on the heavy edge side, and it adds a brush hook to the other side, and it adds our spike from our Tomahawk, so that you can do your fixed blade draw knifing like I've shown in other videos, where you smack the spike into a stump and then you have a fixed planer blade. So I wanted to do a small one and maybe a big one. which this one will be a two-handed brush axe, and it may have the same handle as our X-ray tomahawk. So that would look kind of like this. So it doesn't really, no need for a guard on this because this is a bush tool almost exclusively. So that's the idea for that. I'd like to know what you think. The X-ray tomahawk, new one, is going to be a little heavier. It'll be 01, os-tempered, probably 5/16 thick. It'll have one hole in the head. It'll have optional cold chisel, spike. It'll have all the other options that we have on other tomahawks for our under the spike sharp edge, under the beard sharp edge, and always, of course, we have the axe and the mohawk edge, always sharp. Also a nice slender pry bar, which will be thick but skinny, so you can really stick it into stuff and really, you know, it'll almost have a full tang, or it may have a completely full tang with just the holes for our handle bolts. So this is going to be super cool. Very versatile tomahawk. It takes our geometry that's great for the bush, thickens it up a little bit so it's better for breaching. Also, with the same handle as the X-ray, we're going to do a two-handed sword, which my model broke in half. But this will be a two-handed sword named after the prehistoric short-faced bear, which is called Arcturus, Simus, or something like that. So this has got either a short katana-sized blade. It's about 22 inches long for the blade, maybe 20. It's not that much longer than the Kodiak, but it's got a full two-handed handle, and it's going to have a modified Tonto style point, and with or without false edge up here. So this is going to be your crazy ass zombies killing sword, if you want to call it that. That's kind of the thing to do nowadays. So the last thing I want to show you is an ultralight backpacker's Bowie model. This is our Americanus in my right hand, and this is going to be our backpacker Bowie, which will be an ultralight version for those of you who don't want to carry a lot of weight but need a good knife, a big knife actually. So this will be about a 10.5 inch blade, and it'll hopefully maintain the same feel as, similar feel to our Americanus, but with less weight, so you can still get a lot of good chopping ability. I'll probably just make a couple prototypes of this, make sure it works. This one is great, but it's, you know, it doesn't weigh that much, but lighter is better when you're backpacking. That's it for now. Tell me what you think, alright?